Polaroid dimensions are 3.5 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches tall. The photo window is 3 inches by 3 inches square. Start with your ruler a little bit further down from the top and try to get it sort of straight across. It's not a huge deal for this because for the rest of it you will measure based on the lines that you've already drawn. So draw across from 0 all the way to 3.5, and you'll make marks up at 3.5, 3 1/4, 1/4, and 0. Now when you turn your paper, you'll line your ruler up to the line that you just drew, and you'll make more marks from there. So line up to 4 1/4, that way you can just draw the whole length to the end of the ruler. Make a mark at 4 1/4, 4 inches, 1 inch, and 0. So this is going down from the top. For the other side, line your ruler up to the first line that you drew, and you'll make a line down from 0 to 4 1/4 inches. And then make marks up at 4 1/4, 1/4, and 3 1/4. You can also move your ruler down to check that the window will be 3 inches in between those two marks. For the last side, again, you're going to line the end of your ruler up to one of the previous lines that you already drew. Draw from 0 to 3.5 inches across, and you'll make marks at 3 1/4 and 1/4 inches. The smaller marks are so you can line up your ruler and make the lines for your window. For this part, you want to make these lines as light as you possibly can, because with watercolor you don't want to be able to see any pencil through, and you should hopefully be able to erase the edges later. You only need to draw this line between the two marks above it. So don't draw it all the way from top to bottom, so that way you don't make any mistakes and that you don't have to erase extra. Also, I'm keeping my hand actually underneath my pencil. That way I can't put any extra pressure on the pencil, making the lightest mark possible. This also is going to give you your edge to tape, and that way the outer edge of your painting will have a very crisp border like a Polaroid. Erase any extra pencil that crosses from the corners. Once you've gone around all 4 sides of the square, then you're able to go ahead and cut the edges. You should cut along the pencil as straight as you can, or even slightly to the outside edge, so that way you don't end up cutting the piece too small. Keep the bottom portion that you've cut off of the paper, so that way you can use that for testing colors later on. Then erase any extra pencil marks around the outside edge of your Polaroid. Once you have your Polaroid measured out and cut, you're able to transfer your image with a light box. Again, make sure to transfer your image over very lightly onto your watercolor paper. That way it shouldn't show up through the watercolor as you paint. I'm going to tape my watercolor paper to a masonite board. It should help the paper to not buckle as much when I'm doing my watercolor painting. Here I'm taping my paper down before I have drawn the image on. If you are going to be tracing a drawing from another sheet of paper, obviously you need to do that before you tape it to your masonite board. Here I'm putting the tape on and off my sleeve a few times to pick up some lint, and this is going to make it so that the tape will still stick to my paper, but it has less tackiness, and that way whenever I go to peel it up later, it shouldn't rip the paper. Carefully line the edge of your tape up to your pencil guidelines on your paper, and then repeat this process for all 4 sides. Make sure to smooth the edges of the tape down right next to where you'll be painting. That way watercolor won't get under any edges that aren't quite stuck to the paper. Then you're ready to paint.